Here to give us an in-depth look at what's going on in Washington is Representative Ralph Norman, the congressman serving South Carolina's 5th District. So, Congressman, I appreciate having you on the program tonight. We're 8 days away from the presidential election. It kind of snuck up, to be completely honest, but here we are. And it seems like legislative efforts for the time being are sidetracked. Nothing too much going on. The only thing really is coronavirus relief. But is it fair to say that that is being held off until after November 3rd?
Oh, yeah, Alex, you've heard about the supposed meetings that Ms. Pelosi has had with Mnuchin and Mark Meadows, but, she's not going to pass anything, particularly with the package that Mitch McConnell had, $500 billion, provided some liability protection, which the businesses really need. But she's not, unless it's includes pet projects that she had slated before, other things, plus a price tag of over $1.2 trillion. It's impossible to get anything done, and I don't think she has any intentions of doing it.
And we just played a clip from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, too, essentially saying that if Republicans maintain the White House as well as the Senate, that her job is essentially to just be obstructor to some degree. And we've heard, for example, that she does want to pursue House Speaker once again if Democrats hold the House. But Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said she wouldn't necessarily support that effort. In fact, she won't even support her re-election campaign, saying she'll go for the most progressive individual that's running. Do you think that is a foreshadow of what the Democratic Party is, the further to the left brand of the Democratic Party?
Absolutely, and that's what, for the last 4 years, she's had a battle within her party with AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Omar pulling, and that's why, I think it's probably been something that a lot of the Democrats within the party didn't agree with. But yeah, it's far left. It's Green New Deal. It's spending like we've never seen before. That's why we have got to keep the Senate, and we've got to reelect Donald Trump. What she wants to do, and what the left, led by Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC, they'll bankrupt this country. I'm on the Budget Committee. We've had no talks of any kind of cuts or anywhere, and they have been for 4 years. 3.5 years, they have been after this president day one, and I think it probably will continue.
And I think it's worth mentioning, too, how close we actually are to those proposals that you're talking about right now becoming a reality. I mean, if Joe Biden, for example, were to take the White House, and even if Democrats were to just gain 1 seat in the Senate more than their Republican colleagues with a 51-49 majority, or even if they didn't, even if it was tied and we had Kamala Harris breaking the vote or anything like that, I mean, do you suspect that the game plan is to do away with the filibuster, to push through things such as the Green New Deal, to completely remake the Supreme Court, or at least the way that you and I know it? Do you think that is the end goal for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's they have no sense of what's good for the country. Not only the things you mentioned, they will try to make a state out of D.C. and Puerto Rico to solidify their votes, and it's tragic if they go in for the country. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's enthusiasm that I see. I just left a polling location. 250 people or more were wrapped around the building. But I think their far left policies are bringing people to the polls. That's a good thing.
So do you think that perhaps the pendulum swings, if you will? I say that in the sense that it seems like in the 2018 midterms, people wanted some sort of accountability on President Trump, acknowledging the fact that Republicans did have the House, they did have the Senate, they did have the White House, that maybe people were like, okay, you know what, I could see why there should be a checks and balance. Do you think that maybe this time around, or maybe it's the next election, whatever it may be, do you think that things are more cyclical, or can you see a clear direction of this party, both where the Democratic Party is going as well as the Republican Party? Can we really see where the direction the two parties are headed?
I think so. I think they've seen how extreme Nancy Pelosi and her crowd are. I think they've seen the last 3.5 years, this impeachment process, a Mueller probe, and for your viewers, guess who's paying for that? The taxpayers. We have had no significant legislation passed. Thank God it's been blocked by the Senate, but it's all giveaway programs that Nancy Pelosi and her left-wing ideologues want to try to pass. And it's simply something, and the judges, I mean, Amy Coney Barrett, what an outstanding pick. The only thing that they will do is stop conservative judges that like the Constitution, that are like religion. They'll try to put they want to use the Supreme Court as their political making body. And yeah, it's more the same with them. But I fear for the country if it happens. But again, to your point, I think it's mobilized people, and I think it's energized them because they see the peril that will happen if this group gains the House, the Senate, and the executive branch.
And I keep wanting to stress the point home about what it necessarily means to pack the courts. I mean, that is essentially tearing down the system that we know. It completely politicizes one of the three branches of government, allowing the other branch to dictate who's on it, who on rotating base for how long. I mean, it's a real damaging thing that could come to the foundation of this country, because the courts perhaps are the one thing that people still do have faith in as compared to congressional bias, bias of the president, whatever it may be. But even that is in jeopardy right now. So I think that's something that people should keep on their minds. But Congressman Norman, I really appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.